What happens when a billionaire with everything uses a woman as punishment, and she becomes his salvation instead? When revenge blurs into obsession, and obsession bleeds into love. Tonight's story will make you question everything you thought you knew about power, control, and the dangerous line between destroying someone and loving them. Stay with me. Welcome back to Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, where every tale is soaked in drama, fire, and emotions that hit harder than you ever expected. Around here, we don't just tell stories, we feel them, deep, in the chest, the kind that stay with you long after the video ends. Tonight's story? It's not sweet. It's not simple. It's a tale of power, obsession, and that dangerous razor-thin line between revenge and love. The kind of story that makes you question, when a man has everything, what does he do with his pain? And what happens when he tries to use a woman as his punishment, and instead, she becomes his salvation?
The Blackwood Tower, a blade of obsidian glass cutting into Manhattan's skyline, throwing its shadow over the financial district like a warning. At the very top, wrapped in glass and steel, there's a man whose name makes markets move and enemies disappear. Lucian Blackwood, 34, billionaire, 11 billion to his name. And for 12 long years, he's been nursing one thing more carefully than his fortune: a grudge. Now, on the other side of that grudge is a woman who doesn't even know she's walking into a war. Sienna Morales, 26, brilliant, Columbia graduate, magna cum laude, former executive assistant at a top firm, now unemployed after a merger, barely staying above water, drowning in over $400,000 of medical bills for her mother, a mother slowly dying of cancer. She's smart, she's proud, she's tired, she's desperate. And she is exactly where Lucian Blackwood wants her.
Because this isn't just a job interview. This is a trap. And it all starts with one line, one sentence that he throws at her like a challenge or a promise. I want to see every part of you. Those were the words Lucian Blackwood used the first time he laid eyes on Sienna Morales. Words that would change everything between them. He didn't just want her as his assistant, he wanted control. He wanted to own every part of her, down to the very core of her being. But what Lucian didn't realize, she wasn't as easy to break as he thought. Because Sienna isn't just a victim, she's a survivor. And as their twisted game of obsession unfolds, it's not clear who holds the chains and who's actually trapped. So who wins when a man who controls everything meets a woman who has nothing left to lose? You're about to find out. I'm Marcus, and as always, I'm here to guide you through a story that will make you question everything
You thought you knew about love, power, and betrayal. You're tuned in to Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, where every story leaves you breathless. And tonight we're stepping into the dark, dangerous world of Lucian Blackwood. Let's dive into I Want to See Every Part of You, a billionaire's dangerous obsession with his new assistant. But before we slide all the way into this emotional rollercoaster, family, listen. From the jump, I want to know how you'll feel. Lucian Blackwood is about to punish Sienna for something her mother allegedly did 12 years ago. So tell me in the comments, is he justified in going after the daughter for the mother's sins? Or is he already dead wrong before we even meet him? Drop your thoughts below and let me know where you stand. And don't forget, if you love deep, dramatic stories that tug at your soul, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. You're at
Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, and you do not want to miss what's coming next.
We open at the top of the Blackwood Tower. Lucian is standing in front of floor-to-ceiling windows, New York City laid out beneath him like an empire of ants. He's been waiting for this day for 12 years. Behind him, on his desk, is a file he knows by heart. Sienna Morales. Her degrees, her work history, her debt, her mother's illness. He's studied her like a target, but he's about to discover she's much more than that. The intercom buzzes. "Mr. Blackwood, your 2 o'clock appointment has arrived. Send her in." Sienna steps in. He hears the click of her heels, feels the shift in the air as she takes in his office, his world. When he finally turns, something in him, this man built on ice and iron, slips. She's beautiful, yes, but it's more than that. There's a defiance in her eyes, a strength in the way she carries herself. Her suit is neat but worn, the quiet dignity of someone still trying to look put together while life is peeling at the seams. He invites her to sit. She does, back straight, gaze steady. She starts to present her qualifications, but Lucian cuts through the performance like a knife. "I've already decided to hire you." That's the first twist. She's confused, rightfully so. He circles his desk slowly, not taking the seat beside her like a normal boss. Instead, he looms. He leans back against the desk right in front of her, close enough to make her feel small, to test her boundaries, to start the game. Then he lays her life out on the table. Her mother's bills, over $400,000, 3 months behind on rent, insurance running dry. Her desperation exposed. He tells her this isn't about qualification, it's about willingness. "Your time belongs to me. Your attention belongs to me. I want to see every part of you, Miss Morales. Your work ethic, your limitations, your breaking points, everything." And Sienna? She doesn't break. Her voice hardens. That's not a job description. That's indentured servitude. But then Lucian drops the hook he knows she can't ignore. A salary of $500,000 a year, full benefits, every past and future bill for her mother's treatment erased, the best cancer specialists in the country paid in full, all for one thing: her presence, her service, her obedience. Sienna's internal war shows on her face, pride versus survival, dignity versus love. But in the end, she makes the only choice she feels she has. She asks him why. Why her? Why this level of control? Lucian pulls out a photo, her mother, years younger, and beside her, a man Sienna doesn't recognize. Richard Blackwood, my father. He tells her his version of the story, that her mother, Elena Morales, testified against Richard in a federal investigation, that she handed over forged documents that destroyed his company and reputation, walked away with immunity, while Lucian's father lost everything. He tells her his father died 3 years later, officially of a heart attack, but in Lucian's eyes, it was shame that killed him. Sienna refuses to believe it, but belief doesn't matter to Lucian. "I don't need you to believe me. I need you to work for me. Every day I will look at you and remember what was taken from me. And every day you will serve me, knowing that your presence here is payment for your mother's sins." When she calls him a monster, he doesn't flinch. "Perhaps, but I'm a monster who can save your mother's life." Cornered by love and fear, Sienna accepts the job, but on her own terms. "I'll take the job, but I want everything in writing, every promise you've made, legally binding." Lucian agrees. She walks out, but not before delivering a line that hits him right in that little piece of humanity he still has left.
You said you wanted to see every part of me, Mr. Blackwood. But I wonder, can you handle what you find?
She leaves him standing there alone, with the city at his feet, and something dangerous awakening in his chest. Revenge is starting to look a lot like desire. 3 weeks later, the war between them is fully underway. Sienna is working impossible hours, 5 a.m. starts, midnight finishes. She's juggling international calls, contracts, schedules altered by his every whim. She learns his tells, the tension in his shoulders, the tone of his voice, the set of his jaw. Through all of it, she feels his gaze on her, studying, watching, wanting. One evening, she walks in with coffee and documents for a late meeting, and Lucien's first words are not about work. You're wearing your hair down. A small thing, but in his world, everything is intentional. He notices the new dress, the way it fits, the way she looks softer, more herself. He steps closer, too close. The problem, Miss Morales, is that you're distracting. He calls her the most professional assistant he's ever had, but he's restless, agitated. He touches her hair, testing that boundary again. Then he asks the question sitting between them. After 3 weeks of serving as my personal punching bag, why haven't you quit? She tells him the obvious answer, her mother, but even he knows it's becoming more complicated than that. Later, after her mother's surgery, paid for and successful, Lucien admits he didn't do it out of kindness. But the mask slips when he steps too close, when his fingers trail along her jaw, when his voice dips lower and he says, "That's not the only reason I keep you here anymore." The tension between them is suffocating. Revenge is blurring into obsession, and obsession is starting to feel like longing. One night, around 2 in the morning, they're alone in the office. He's exhausted. She tells him he needs sleep, and for once, he almost looks human. They talk, not as billionaire and assistant, but as two people tied to a past they both inherited but never asked for. She reveals she's been researching the old case, trying to piece together the truth. The evidence is messy. Some documents against his father were falsified, but her mother believed them real. Elena was young, under pressure, threatened with prison, trying to protect her child. Sienna calls what her mother did human, not perfect. She also calls Lucien exactly what he is. I call it broken. You've built this entire empire on revenge, and now that you have me here, you don't know what to do with me. Because punishing me doesn't give you what you actually want. He demands to know what she thinks he wants. She hits him with the truth. I think you want someone to see you. Not the monster, not the billionaire, not the vengeful son. Just you. And that's the moment he can't hold the line anymore. He kisses her. It's not soft, not tentative. It's a claim. All teeth and hunger and 12 years of rage melting into one wrong, desperate decision. And Sienna kisses him back, even as she knows this is the most dangerous thing she could do. When they finally break apart, he tells her, "This doesn't change anything. I'm still going to destroy you." And she answers, breathless but unbroken, "You can try." In that office high above Manhattan, the power balance shifts. It's no longer just his game. They're both in it now. Family, can y'all feel the heat between Lucien and Sienna? Because this is no regular office romance. This is trauma, obsession, power, and something that looks a lot like love, trying to claw its way through the darkness. Tell me in the comments, who do you think is going to break first? Lucien, with all his control,
Or Sienna, with all that quiet fire? And while you're at it, share this video with someone who loves a good, messy, emotionally heavy story. You're watching Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, where every story leaves you breathless. A month passes. The chemistry between them is undeniable, but under the surface something else is cracking. One day Sienna is organizing Lucian's personal files. It feels like yet another test, another way for him to measure her obedience, to see how far she'll step into his world. A yellowed envelope slips from between the folders. On the front, in shaky handwriting, "For my son, after I'm gone." It's a letter from Richard Blackwood. This is the moment where fate stops playing fair. Sienna knows she should put it back. She knows this is personal, sacred. But curiosity, pain, and survival instinct make the choice for her.
She reads it. In that letter, Richard confesses the truth. He falsified the evidence. He framed his rival, Marcus Henderson. He let Elena Morales carry the public stain as the whistleblower, when she was just a pawn who believed the lies he fed her. Elena didn't betray him, he betrayed everyone. He admits his cowardice, his guilt. He warns Lucian not to follow in his footsteps, not to drown himself in hatred as he did. Sienna's world flips. The man she's serving, the man she's sleeping with, built his revenge on a lie. Lucian walks in and sees the letter on the floor, her face white with shock. Is this true? All of it? He tries to speak, but truth doesn't wait. She realizes he's known for 6 months. 6 months before he ever hired her, before he dragged her into this madness. He tells her he'd already set plans in motion when he found the letter, that once the revenge machine was moving, he didn't know how to stop. But that's not enough, because when he discovered her mother was innocent, he had a choice, and he chose his obsession over her truth. You couldn't stop, she says, because stopping would mean facing what you've become. He tries to explain. Revenge was all he had. After his father died, the anger was the only thing keeping him alive. Until she showed up. And now the feelings are tangled: hatred, desire, shame, love. He confesses, "You are the only person who has ever made me want to be more than what I am." But that confession lands like glass shattering on marble. Too late, too broken. Sienna is devastated, not just because he manipulated her, but because she still feels something for him. "I don't hate you," she admits. "That's the worst part. After everything, the manipulation, the lies, the control, I still feel something for you. And I hate myself for it." She tells him she needs time, space. She needs to find out who she is outside his shadow, outside his power, outside his twisted version of love. He says the words he's been holding back. "I love you, and I don't know how to do it right. I don't know how to want you without consuming you. I don't know how to protect you without controlling you." But she's done being collateral damage. That's not love, Lucian. That's obsession. And until you learn the difference, we can never be together. She leaves. And this time he doesn't follow. Family, I want to pause right here. Have you ever seen someone so lost in their obsession that they can't even recognize real love when it's standing right in front of them? Have you ever been in a situation where someone's hurt, their trauma, blinded them to what they really needed? Tell me in the comments, what's the real cost of revenge? And could you ever forgive someone who used your pain as their therapy? You're only at Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, where we don't shy away from messy emotions and complicated love.
Stay with me, because as we continue, we find out whether a man like Lucian Blackwood can truly change. For 3 weeks, Sienna tries to rebuild. She moves to Brooklyn, small apartment, smaller life, but it's hers. She visits her mother in rehab every day, watching Elena regain strength, walking again because of a surgery that came from the darkest bargain of Sienna's life. She doesn't tell her mother the full truth about Richard Blackwood's confession. Some weights she decides to carry alone. But Lucian lingers in her mind, his touch, his brokenness, the pieces of the real man she saw under all that armor. She wonders, if everything he was built on revenge, what's left when that's stripped away? On the 22nd night, there's a knock at her door. Lucian stands there, wrinkled suit, dark circles under his eyes, no billion-dollar polish. Just a man who looks like he's been wrestling with himself and losing.
Before she can close the door, he hands her a newspaper. Front page headline: Blackwood Industries establishes Elena Morales Foundation for Corporate Whistleblower Protection. It's a $100 million initiative in her mother's name, designed to protect people who speak up so they don't end up collateral damage like Elena. He tells her he did it because her mother deserves to be remembered as a hero, not a traitor. That it doesn't erase what his father did, or what he did, but it's a start. Then he says the thing that matters more than the money. He's been trying to become better. Not for her approval, but because of her. He started therapy. He's delegating, letting go of control at work. He's learning about healthy relationships, communication, vulnerability, things he never had time or space for when all he worshipped was power and payback. He tells her, "I'm not fixing myself for you. I'm fixing myself because of you. Because you showed me there's something beyond revenge. Something worth becoming better for." He doesn't ask for instant forgiveness. He doesn't demand she come back. He offers her one thing he has never given anyone: time. "If you still need time, I'll wait. I spent 12 years chasing revenge. I can spend a lifetime learning how to love you properly." Sienna is honest with him. He hurt her deeply. He turned her into a pawn, knowing the truth and keeping it hidden because it was easier to stay broken than to heal. But when she looks at him now, she doesn't just see the monster from the top of the tower. She sees the man trying, failing, trying again. The man willing to tear down the persona he built to protect himself. She tells him the truth that's been burning in her chest. "You hurt me. You made me a pawn in a game I didn't know I was playing. And I still love you. God help me, but I do." She sets conditions, not as a victim, but as an equal. "If we do this, we do it my way. No more secrets, no more control. We're equals, or we're nothing." He admits he doesn't fully know how to be equal to anyone, but he's willing to learn. And that's the key. She cups his face, telling him they're both broken, both shaped by pain they didn't choose. But maybe, just maybe, they can build something better from the pieces, together. When he kisses her this time, it's not about claiming or owning. It's about choosing. Choosing each other, choosing growth, choosing love over obsession. He whispers, "I want to see every part of you, Sienna. Not to control you, not to own you, but to understand you, to love you." And she answers, "And I want to see every part of you, the monster and the man, the broken boy and the tyrant, all of it, especially the parts that frighten you." This time, when he carries her over the threshold, it doesn't feel like a bargain. It feels like a beginning. If you're still with me, family, and your heart's doing that tight little ache right now, go ahead and hit like on this video. Share it with someone who loves complicated, redemptive love stories. And tell me in the comments, would you have given Lucian another chance? Or is this a man you would have walked away from for good? 1 year later. The Blackwood Tower is still standing, still slicing the sky. But the man inside has changed. Lucian is in his office, but it's different now. The atmosphere is lighter. The weight in his eyes is softer. The revenge that used to sit on his shoulders like armor has been replaced with something gentler. Responsibility, love, accountability. The door opens. Sienna walks in. Not with a notepad, not with a stack of files. She walks in as his partner, in business and in life. There's a ring on her finger and a peace in her smile, but she's still Sienna, sharp, honest, unbent. She reminds him his 3 o'clock is waiting. She teases him about her mother, now his mother-in-law, asking why he hasn't visited in 2 weeks. When he tries to pull the "I'm busy billionaire" card, she reminds him, "I'm not your assistant anymore, remember? Call her yourself." He pulls her into his lap, and the man who once used control as a weapon now uses vulnerability as his strength. He asks her if she regrets any of it, the pain, the lies, the complicated path that led them here. Sienna doesn't sugarcoat it. "I regret the pain, the manipulation, the lies, but I don't regret where we ended up. I don't regret you." He's still a work in progress, still catches himself being controlling, still moves her desk because the sunlight on her face distracts him. But now, instead of commanding, he laughs at himself. He lets her call him out. They grow together. Outside the window, the city is still an empire of stories, broken people trying to find wholeness in a world that profits off their wombs. Once Lucian looked at that city and saw a battlefield. Now, with Sienna in his arms, he sees something new. A home. "I love you," he tells her. "More than I knew it was possible to love anything." "I know," she says, smiling. "I love you too, even when you're impossible." And right there we leave them. Not as a perfect couple, not as a fairy tale, but as 2 flawed humans choosing each other every day. Because some loves are born from darkness, some redemptions are forged in fire, and some broken people, against all odds, find their way to something beautiful. This was theirs. And there we have it, family. Another story of obsession, love, and redemption here at Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus. We watched Lucian go from a man fueled by revenge to someone willing to unlearn everything he thought made him strong. We watched Sienna walk into a devil's bargain and still refuse to let go of her dignity, her voice, or her heart. What started as a tale of punishment turned into a story about healing, accountability, and the hard, messy work of choosing love over control. Now I want to hear from you. Did Sienna make the right choice in the end? Is there really hope for a man like Lucian? And what does real love look like to you, especially when you've both been hurt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. You know I read them, and this is the kind of story that deserves a conversation. If this episode made you feel something, if it made you mad, made you cry, made you root for 2 broken people to find their way, go ahead and like this video, share it with someone who loves intense emotional drama, and of course, subscribe to the channel. You're only at Melanin Stories Hub with Marcus, where every story is designed to hit you in the heart and leave you breathless.
Thank you for tuning in to another intense episode with me. I'll be back with another mind-blowing story that you will not want to miss. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay strong, and keep being the amazing souls that you are.
Peace, love, and stories that make us feel everything. I'm Marcus. This is Melanin Stories Hub, and I'll see you in the next one.